I'm Cameron.
And I'm Zach.
I know everything.
And I know that there's dragons.
Finally, you do, actually. This is a very special episode of the Watching You Watch podcast because we've finished Season 1.
Yay!
We just watched the finale of Season 1 entitled Fire and Blood. Mm-hmm. Zach's got some thoughts. So yes, this is the Watching You Watch podcast. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is a weird episode for you to be jumping into because it's the last one.
It's like the people who read like the end of the book first. They're weird and they do
If you're one of those people, stop it. That's all I have to say.
I'm going to be the counterpoint and say live your life, but no, you're robbing yourself of something.
But anyway, so if you're tuning in for the first time, our podcast, we recap Game of Thrones with the theme that I've seen it before, and Zach hasn't. Mm-hmm. He can now, though, say that he has seen one season
of
Game of Thrones. So yes, we just watched the finale. Zach, how are you feeling about this?
This is this got more seasons for a reason.
Yeah, it's such a good show, and I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
Yes.
Are you excited by the ending of the show? Are you like amped up for season 2 already?
Yeah, dragons and like Starks being a contender in the game, even though their patriarch is gone.
It's true,
and
it is
I don't
true.
know, just like lots of things. I mean, we're way past the point of like the early setup, like. Season 2 is going to start off and we're going to know everyone and everything's going to keep moving and it's going to be crazy and they're actually going to do stuff about things in the north and I'm excited to see what's going on beyond the wall because I feel like that's going to become very world important.
It shall indeed. So let's jump right into this. Last episode we didn't do a recap because there are a lot of events that needed to be talked about, and episode 9 of season 1 is what I would consider more like what you would typically consider like a season finale episode for a typical TV show.
Yeah.
Whereas this episode, it's much quieter in tone, and it's very much like a setup for what's to come in season 2.
You could feel that.
Go ahead and just give us a recap, though, of this episode. Maybe just highlight your favorite moments in it.
Okay, well, I'll highlight everything I can remember, which isn't always much, but... Basically, it starts right after the decapitation of Ned Stark, R.I.P. in peace.
Yeah, rest in
peace. Arya is pulled aside by the Night's Watch dude and is like, boy. And she's like, I'm a girl. He's like, shut up. If you're smart, you're going to pretend to be a boy. And she's like, oh.
That's basically it.
And, yeah, so he's going to smuggle her out of the city by making her be, like someone who did something bad and is going to the wall just so she can get north. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe we should go all the way to see Jon Snow or not. But the moral of the story is people start giving her crap and calling her midget and saying, oh, you look like a girl. And in her head, she's like, oh, wow, good to know. And she's like, I could beat you. I literally kicked a man in the balls to death. And she's like, listen, I literally stabbed a kid. And he's like, oh.
She's like, I'm good at killing fat boys. Wink, wink.
Wait. I'm fat. And also, it was interesting because we got to see one of Robert Baratheon's bastard sons, the armorer, there, like getting sent to the wall because basically anyone that's had connections with Ned Stark is just either getting walled or
It's like
dead.
abandoned ship. It's like,
Abandoned Stark.
Abandoned Stark. I like that.
But let's see, which is terrible. I hate all the people. Okay, other highlights. We had another Varys Littlefinger moment, and it's always kind of funny. I don't know whether they're, like, Littlefinger doesn't want to get to the heart of the matter of things, but he always, like, goes to the, like, making fun of Varys' castration and stuff, which is funny, because Varys just, like, takes it in stride. And honestly, I don't even know if, like, that's kind of how their friendship works. And I love their discussion, because talking about, like, how they both respect each other and admire each other for what they do in their various respects. And, but it's time to serve the king. Yep, king serving time.
Yeah, my favorite part of that scene is when Littlefinger insults Varys, and then Varys is like, oh, come on, you can do better than that.
Yeah, I know, because, like, the thing with, that's what I kind of mentioned, it's like, that's their shtick.
Yep.
Because, like, as soon as they start coming to the heart of the matter and, like, saying things, it's like he makes castration jokes.
Yep.
Which you'd think would get old, because they've been doing it forever, which is part of the reason why he could probably say, come on, you can do better than that. Okay, let's see. And also, talking of, table members, we have Meister Paisel or whatever that.
Yeah, Maester Pycelle.
Maester gonna need a pacemaker soon. But not really, because we find that he has been playing the doddering old man act
Yep,
with
and
Rose.
he's pretty spry for an old man, though.
Yeah, exactly. And he like does like his calisthenics and like puffs himself all up, and then he like stoops and starts hobbling, and it's like, what? Because like when we see him like walk fully capably and doing all this stuff, it's interesting.
I will say the first time I watched it, I was fooled too. Like, I was like, oh, Maester Pycelle, he's this doddering old man. And then I saw that scene and I was like, oh my gosh, he's playing everyone for fools.
He's playing a much better game. And it's funny because you can tell that obviously the person is from Littlefinger's entourage, and he's still been able to pretty much pull the wool over his eyes or not give him any the information he wants and knows that he may have. So he plays an interesting counterpoint. It's so funny. It's like an entire den of wolves in there with all of them wearing the sheep's clothes.
Yeah, they all are.
So you walk into King's Landing and it looks like it's all sheep, but they're all wolves.
They're all wolves, yes.
Let's see. Oh, also, Joffrey is awful and I hate him because Dulcimer Man was alive, but this time to, like, bring things full circle, rather than, like, the Dulcimer getting busted up, he gets his tongue ripped out because he sang a song that Joffrey didn't like. And then Joffrey's like, hey, Sansa, I have a present for you. Look, it's your father's head. And your wet nurse's head. And everyone else you loved head. Isn't it great? Aren't I the best? Look at them. Look at it until it pleases me. And do I have to look at everything else too? Yes, Sansa, because it pleases me. And then she's like, he's really high up. I could push him off. And the Hound, like, steps in and is like, oh, you got this on your face. And yeah, he sucks. You just better to give him what he wants. Also, you'll need this because you're probably going to get hit more.
He's like,
he's terrible.
You're going to keep that handkerchief I gave you because you're going to need it.
That's... the Hound is just an interesting character. I want to see more about him because he only's really gotten snippets, and I feel like it's going to happen as we are forced to be closer to Joffrey.
Yes, we are forced to be, just like Sansa, we are held captive in King's Landing and forced to witness Joffrey's antics.
But let's see. Other important facts. Cersei, his, like, an incest fetish with Wineboy Lannister, and
you actually referred to her as Cersei instead of Cersei.
Whatever, it's all the same thing.
You did it. I'm so proud of you. I've been waiting a whole season for this. Zach.
I think it's because I like almost burped before I said her name. Maybe that's the key.
Maybe that's the key.
Okay.
And then you remember it's Cersei, not Cersei.
No, whatever. We'll call her Cersei.
Ew.
Whatever makes you react the best. You get enough of my reactions during the show.
That's true.
Let's see. But with the Starks, the sad news gets there, and Catelyn is, like, super sad, and Robert is, like, trying to hack down a tree with his sword. He's like, you ruined your sword! And he's like, time for a hug, and she's like, don't worry, we'll murder all of them. And he's like, I like this idea.
Yep.
And she goes to see Jaime later that night, and he gets all, like, Tyrion on her, which is weird. It must be a family thing, the way they, like, flirt with women.
He starts making, like, innuendos at her, even though he's, like, captive, and she beats him with a rock.
Yeah, and he, like, basically wants her to beat him to death, which is weird, because once again we play the thing where we don't really always know exactly what Jaime wants.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just not going to kill him because that would be too easy, and...
Exactly what he would want her to do.
And it's great because, well, it's funny because in the end she ends up, like, giving in to, like, his thing is, like, rest, you're gonna need it, it's gonna be a long war.
Yep.
And I guess both of them just understand where they're gonna go, and that's why that ends. What was the other thing with them? Oh, yes, very important to note that all of the people, rather than wanting to save Ned now, they're basically trying to make, you know, a king of the North, rather than everyone be ruled by the people in King's
The North
Landing.
is like Texas, and they're going to be the Lone Star State.
Yeah.
They're gonna
I
break
hope
off.
so. I want the North to be like super Texas. It'll be great. It'll be the best. And then they won't have to deal with any of the garbage, and people will come to them and love them, and frack Lannisters. Let's see. Other than that, Jon Snow almost ran out, but
he was trying to join Robb's war effort, but he was convinced by Sam
his friends.
and his friends.
Yeah, which Sam stood up for something. I was like, yeah, look at he did it. And I was so happy.
Yep.
And then they, like, brought him back. And I think it's also funny that the Commander Mogwai.
Mormont? Commander Mogwai.
I don't know. Was
Zach.
all like...
Why did that take a whole season to come to? Because that one was really good.
I don't know. It was an M, and then I panicked.
Oh my god.
I knew it started with an M.
That is so funny.
Oh man, that would have been even better, Commander M.
No, I like Mogwai.
All right, fair enough. That was gonna stick. But it's all like, yeah, we knew you left, and then he's like, oh, they knew, and he's like, shut up. We
He's
know
basically
everything.
like, like, are you the first? Do you think you're the first person to
that
run
did
away?
it.
Like,
come
oh my God.
on, come on, guys. We've been doing
He's like,
this.
everybody doubts it, but I'm glad you made the right choice. Basically,
Well, it's funny because he says like, not even he, that someone made the honorable choice. Well, it wasn't you that made the honorable choice, you dummy. Give me some beer with my breakfast ham. But yeah, and also they're gonna ride beyond the wall. Crazy
Yep.
exciting. And then to Daenerys Land.
Daenerys Land. Yep.
She smothers Pex.
Yes, because he's
and
basically
then puts
comatose.
Pex on a funeral pyre Peck thing and burns him with witches. Which the thing with it is I honestly sympathized with the witch lady. Well, she basically was a necromancer.
Yeah, that's kind of true. She did kind of that blood magic vibe about her.
Yeah, and dead things. But
And dead things.
I don't know. I'm kind of glad
It is
that
sympathetic.
things didn't work that way because, if that had went through, yeah, her son would have been the stallion that mounted the world, and there would have been ridiculous amounts of death.
There would be. Yep.
So, I don't know. As much as I like her and stuff, yeah, you gotta take a few steps back and be like, she's like leading a horde of people who just pillage and plunder.
That's
and
all they
kill
do.
Just to kill.
Yep.
Because it's all about who's strong.
Right.
And that's kind of rude.
It's kind of terrifying too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she puts Miri
And
Mazdor on the pyre. She
Okay.
puts Drogo on the pyre, and she
The
puts the
dragon eggs. And you know what happens? She goes in, lets it cook overnight and simmer, and then there are 3 live, living, mother effing dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just like, oh my lands. And she also kisses Jorah, which is one of those things where he was like,
He's
my
like,
lady.
I don't want you to die, and then she's like, don't worry, I won't.
Senpai noticed me.
See, I was thinking more like that moment in Empire Strikes Back between Leia and Han, where Leia's like, I love you, and then Han's like, I know.
Well, except Jorah's not like, I know, it's like...
No, it's the reverse. Jorah is Leia, and Daenerys is Han.
But, like, okay, well, we're working the angles. Fair enough.
It's a little bit of a reversal there, I'm saying
It works.
though.
But the lady's still kissing the man.
It's true.
But still, that is a good analogy, though. It's interesting. They have a very much understanding.
Yes.
Which is good. And it's awesome, because she's just going to dragon it up.
Yep, she's got dragons now.
I'm interested to see where that goes. Mm-hmm. Well, everything. Because, like, that's the thing. Is like you said, this almost seems like it should have been the pilot of the next season. Because so many things were set up.
I do feel that way, because there's just a lot of being like, okay, so we're going to do this. Okay, yeah, okay, and these people are going to do this. Yep, and then we got that set up. Let's move to the next people and see what they're going to do.
Yeah, because season 1 very much felt like it ended with Ned Stark, because that was like where a lot of the conflict was central, and he was one of the main point of view characters.
I think what you're going to find, too, is as you dive into season 2, you're going to see that basically, like, season 1 was all the preamble into this massive, worldwide story that's going to be told by all these people.
Yes.
And it already was that a little bit, but like basically in season 1 you just have Daenerys and then like
King's Landing.
the King's Landing, and maybe a little bit of
wall.
Winterfell.
Yeah, a little bit of wall and Winterfell split in there. Yeah,
Right.
there's a little bit of Bran and like having premonitions of his father.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that in
father,
this episode. Yeah,
dying. It's like he was going to be in this part
and
of
then
the
his
tomb.
premonition was right.
Yeah, and also his little brother Rickon had it, and Shaggy Dog.
Shaggy Dog.
Yeah.
Shaggy Dog is the cutest direwolf name. Rickon
yeah.
wins that award.
Yeah, he does because
he beats out Lady for
there's
that one.
Ghost, Lady.
There's Nymeria.
Nymeria. Nymeria. I almost said Lemuria again.
Lemuria.
Nymeria and
There's I'm trying to think of the other one's name.
I don't know that one.
I think Robb's is. I can't remember Robb's.
Yeah,
wolf
I don't
name.
think
they
it's
mentioned
ever
it in the show.
mentioned.
But I'm trying to remember it from the books now. And it might be Greywind. That might be what his name is. I can't remember what his name is. But it's something like that.
It's all good. But yeah, Direwolves almost all confirmed.
Yeah. So I have to say, this episode is very pivotal as we got dragons.
Dragons.
Big thing that Game of Thrones is. I iconic for is the dragons.
Yeah.
But
I knew they were coming, but I just never knew when or why or how.
But point blank right now, dire wolves or dragons?
Oh dear. Oh no.
This is a tough question for Zach already.
No.
Dire wolves or dragons, Zach? Dire wolves or dragons?
Oh.
No, you can't say both. You can't be the Taco Bell girl and be like, why not both? No,
Well,
it has
KFC
to be.
and Taco Bell forever.
Nope. You have to say one or the other.
Dire wolves, because you can actually feed them things that aren't like full fields of cows. I would feel bad eventually after like having my dragon like have to eat just like people's cows. I mean, it's fine at first. They can just eat like liar's fingers and like
Liar's fingers.
And just,
Daenerys
like, a
is
few
just going to
people.
feed them liar's fingers. She's going to just chop off some liar's fingers and feed them to them.
yes, or like people tongue or witch heart.
Witch heart.
Dragons need to be fed right. At first, I thought she was suckling the dragon, which was weird
Oh no,
because she was just holding it like her
she's
baby.
like cradling one leg in front of her, and the
Yeah.
one climbs on her back, and the other one kind of latches onto her leg.
Yeah.
At the end there.
And it was like neat.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's name them. Let's name them right now.
Okay, if you had to give the dragons names, what would you name them?
Oh no! Oh man, I was hoping you would help me.
No,
okay, there's
I-
a green
because
one, there's
I
a
know
blue
that-
one, and a red one.
It's a green, a yellow, and a red. Actually.
Green, yellow. Okay.
Yeah, the
Oh
other
yeah, that
one's
was
yellow.
yellow. That was weird because it was still kind of snooty.
Yeah, it was on the ground too a little bit. The yellow one was.
Let's see. Oh boy, would she name any of them after her brother? No, she wouldn't. She would not.
I know the real names, so I think it'd be funny just to hear the
Okay.
What
Can
they
we
are.
come back to this one? I'll kind of keep it in the back. I'll keep it in the back.
Keep it in the memory bank. So let's move on to some of the other questions. Let's talk about Robb and Catelyn and that whole thing here, because that scene for me when they find out about Ned dying is one of the most heartbreaking scenes for me. When she comes out there and she just wants to grieve by herself, and she sees her son, whacking away at that tree with his sword, and she's forced to be sort of his like his mom basically, and be like let's experience this moment together. Let's do it. And it's just so heartbreaking to watch, and it's so well done. But the moment I think I want to talk about happens after that, where all of Robb's men declare him king in the North. And it's really interesting, because at first there's a little bit of discussion, like, what are we going to do? Because this whole plan to go rescue Ned and company did not really work out. And so one guy's like, hey, we should pledge allegiance to King Renly. And that's the first time we've gotten like a mention, like, oh, wait, Renly's declaring himself king still? And then someone else is like, no, like, we should honor Ned's wishes and declare fealty to King Stannis. And then they're like, no, we don't need any of this politics stuff. We don't need King's Landing. We don't need any of that crap. We have our king right here. We have our homeland, and we don't need anybody else. And our king right now, that's Robb. Robb's our king, and he's going to be the king in the North. So as of that scene, we have 5 people who have declared themselves the rightful leader of Westeros. We have Joffrey, we have Renly, Stannis, Robb, kind of by proxy, and Daenerys, who have stated openly
that they would like the Iron Throne.
That they are the rightful person to be on that throne. So if you just had to sort of just analyze it, like right now, who in actuality do you think is the person who has the strongest claim to the throne, and is that the same person as who do you think is likely to get the throne at the end of all of this?
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. I
mean, because you could say Daenerys because the Mad King
was there. And,
yeah.
Well, but the thing with it is it's hard to do stuff with like the whole treason and weird and
right.
That's tough. That is a tough one, because honestly, it's between her and Stannis. If you're going by like complete logical stuff, the thing with it is by her leaving, she honestly, in most things, that's like basically giving up your right.
She's basically fallen off the map too. There's not a lot of people who know for sure if she's alive or
even
not.
alive. Yeah, to some of them, she may even be dead because that order wasn't sent through, and no one knows if it's been really completed not, except for probably Varys.
Except for probably Varys, because he knows everything.
And he would probably just not tell people because it's not pertinent to keeping peace at this point.
Right.
If anything, that would just cause more dramas.
Mm-hmm.
But so Stannis should really technically be on the throne by all technicality, but who should be on the throne?
Yeah, who should be on the throne, or who do you think is most likely to be on the throne at the end of all of this?
Ooh, boy.
If you had to pick out of those 5 people.
While Joffrey may be on it right now, I don't feel like he's going to stay on it.
You think he's making already too many bad decisions to keep it?
Most definitely. Even just from like general regular court life, like people are already treating him almost like the Mad King because he is just like tip of a hat.
He's murdering minstrels.
Things.
He's murdering Ned Stark. He's just kill because he can.
Because he can. And that's not good.
Yep.
You aren't going to stay there too long. Because you're not going to make many friends that way.
You aren't. You are not going to make any friends at all that way.
But the thing of it is then it goes between, for me, not necessarily Renly or Stannis, but Robert and Daenerys. Mm-hmm. And since Robert would probably, I feel like he could sit as being king of the North. He would rather not keep himself to any of those politics, but Daenerys wants the throne. So by who actually really wants to sit on the Iron Throne, I'd say Daenerys.
Gotcha.
Because, I mean, I feel like, unless it's really just more of a vengeance-fueled thing, they would be perfectly fine to have the North govern themselves. It would make more sense. There would be less drama, and people could work things out a lot differently.
Yeah.
I feel like that would actually be fantastic for Westeros. If people started, rather than 7 kingdoms ruled under one king, why not each kingdom kind of do their own thing?
Right. That would be an interesting system, considering that Westeros hasn't functioned that way for some time.
Ever.
So, well, there's a whole history to how they were originally 7 separate kingdoms ruled by 7 separate kings, but it's long and complicated.
Yeah, and they wanted one king so they'd have peace, but now it's just caused like this. It's never going to be a happy thing.
Basically, though, it is worth pointing out that before the Mad King, the Targaryens were basically like the top honcho family for like a long time. You know, like it did run that way, where like Targaryen sons became Targaryen kings. You know, and it wasn't this whole convoluted thing where like the succession of who is the next king wasn't very clear. It was always very clear who the next king was.
Yeah.
And the Targaryens, it's mentioned by Cersei, actually, that the Targaryens even, wed brother to sister to make sure that the bloodlines were clear. If there was like, and pure for them, obviously, but also to maintain, prevent the claim to throne, being taken away, potentially. But yeah, anyway, that's the thing. But let's talk about Daenerys for a second here, as you've already said that you think she's basically your top contender, long ways down the road. But Daenerys has this sort of interesting progression in this episode where she talks with Mirri Maz Duur and she basically finds out like, hey, like you didn't save. She says, like, you didn't save me, Daenerys. Like, I have been brutalized by these men, by Khal Drogo's men, like, multiple times before you even showed up. So you didn't save me from anything, first off.
And I got to see my temple burned.
Yeah, and my temple got burned to the ground.
And I got to see people I helped just, like, be dead.
And people in my community that I loved and took care of, they were murdered in front of me. And not only that, but I saw an opportunity to prevent more of that from happening to other people, and I took it. So how can you call me wrong? And I think Daenerys has this little bit of a revelation there because her speech in front of that funeral pyre sort of shifts, and she's no longer really, like, pro-Dothraki in the way that we kind of saw her before. She's like, okay, like, slavery is bad, basically. And she says, like, listen, like, if you're going to be with me, if you're going to support me, if you're going to follow me, there's going to be none of this. Like, there will be no barriers. We're all going to be a family. There's going to be no slavery.
Yeah.
Like, we're all people. We're all on the same playing field. And I think that's a really interesting progression for her to take. I just wanted your thoughts on that, though.
I think that it's probably, like, the best things because the thing with it is she's delved into both worlds. She's sort of had the high life before earlier, and then she got, like, the Dothraki way, and now this is, like, the happy blend, and it's like she's going to be with people who care for her and will take care of her, because there's not been very much of that up to this point in her life at all.
No,
or, like,
hasn't.
the people she loved have just, like, been murdered.
Right, that's true.
So, I mean, she's just trying to create a group of people, not even necessarily a nation, just a group of people who can live together and sort of have stuff. I think that that's fantastic, and it's kind of crazy to see her go so quickly. I mean, like, from mourning the death of her husband, who she, like, learned to love, and, like, leaving a culture and all these different things. She does very well. She does have, like, the makings of a leader.
She does.
And an interesting leader at that, because she understands both worlds, and she's found the sort of medium line. But, of course, I guess, let's see, what did he say that the king needs to rule? Love, fear... power,
basically they need to keep in balance, like,
and now
fear,
she
love,
has that
and power. The only thing I think she probably doesn't have right now is power, because she's only got maybe like the dozen or so people who have stuck around with
dragons. Give it like a year.
I mean, yes, but that's provided that she can keep hold of her dragons, because remember, she's in the middle of like Dothraki country, and there's just roaming bands of Dothraki that run around, and they could just, come through.
Okay,
and take
fair
what
enough.
they wanted.
Because that was just one group of Dothraki, correct? There are many.
Yeah. So, and it's mentioned that, and I think more so in the books than in the show, but Khal Drogo happened to have probably the biggest and most prevalent horde of people before he died, and then as soon as like he dies, like his Khalasar is what it's called, his horde, basically like splits up and everybody starts fighting each other, and then they all declare like, oh, this person's the Khal, no, this person's the Khal,
And then
they
people
all run
kind
off,
of
and they
split.
follow that their own group, and that's kind of how the Dothraki function.
Yeah.
And like not only that, but there's other Khals who are out there doing their own thing. So
Oh boy.
Daenerys is not out of the fire, so to speak.
No.
Yet.
So I wonder if she's gonna go, Dothraki hunting and pick up people by killing their cows.
So I think it's interesting though to point out too that Daenerys' angle on this is so different from anybody else who has laid a claim to the throne.
Yeah.
Do you see maybe this ideology of everybody being like on equal footing, working in Westeros? And do you think people in Westeros would love her the same way that people over in Essos already have sort of
she would be great for the common people, but for the people of power, this would not be what they want. And especially since there's been power games being played by high families for literally forever.
Yes.
It would, like, as far as the people go, and a vast majority, even some of the houses would probably be okay with it. She would be pretty well accepted, pretty well loved. But at the same time, I feel like she's at a point where she's starting off this way, but she could teeter to a mad king or a good king. She's very much in a volatile state.
Yeah. And it's interesting because just because she puts her focus on the common people, it really kind of illuminates a lot of major issues, I think, already with the way their system works. These lords are now going to be fighting for power, basically, against each other, and not in the sort of, like, let's manipulate each other and work our way out, but let's, like, all-out fight each other, basically.
Yeah, but are they fighting? No, they're sending thousands of people to
not only that,
die.
but, like, it's, like, the common people who are going to be caught in the crossfire. Like, in this episode, Tywin mentions, like, okay, so we're going to send the rest of our army back to Harrenhal, and I'm going to send a small host out here to go burn a bunch of countryside.
Yeah, and it's just so flippant. It's like, we're going to burn countryside.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And it's like, but those people are, like...
Yeah. Like, how many towns is that going to be? I mean, like, if it's being led by the Mountain, holy crap, things are not going to go well.
Just like the Mountain several episodes ago did all that thing with, pillaging all those towns, and then there was the fish that were all dropped around as... that not so subtle sign to Ned, like, hey, like, we're coming after your wife's people because their sign is the fish. But yeah, so let's also talk about another major development in this episode, in that Tywin kind of calls Tyrion and is like, listen, I got a war to fight. I need you to go to King's Landing and be the hand in my stead.
Goodness, it's funny. It just keeps on not being Jaime.
But it's kind of interesting because there's been this tension already between Tywin and Tyrion when they popped in, and then Tyrion's just like, "Are you serious? Like you're putting me in charge?" And he's like, "You're
actually
my son.
putting trust in me." He's like, and that's his. It's not like before he mentions like, I thought you were a stunted fool, and he's like, "Oh, I'm half those things,"
Yes.
which is just sort of fun.
It's classic Tyrion.
Yeah, classic Tyrion. And it's interesting because they almost have a tender moment, and there's almost like a father-son understanding, but then it comes back to, well, you're my son, which is sort of like a slap in the face to him. Which
And
is
yet
sad.
oddly comforting, too, though.
Yeah,
I
at the
mean,
same
like,
time.
It's
But
like,
he's always known the comfort of being able to use his name, but he's never really gotten recognition as himself. This is the first time, I think, maybe in his life, his father's been like,
Maybe.
you can do it.
yeah.
Like, in his very roundabout,
Yeah.
led by family honor-ish way.
How do you think Tyrion's going to do, though, when he gets there? Because the past couple hands have not
Oh my
fared
goodness.
so well
I
there.
really, really, really want more Joffrey slap. Give me more Joffrey
So,
slap.
okay, but, so maybe more Joffrey slapping.
Maybe
but
more Joffrey slapping.
I'm just saying, though, like, the last couple hands have ended up dead because they were the hand.
Oh, Tyrion's gonna be fine.
Okay, you think so?
I think. Oh yeah, 100%. I fear for his Shay.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that. So, like, he's told by Tywin, like, hey, like, don't bring your whore with you.
Don't take her with. And it's funny because he pitches it to her and she's like, well, you're not going to take me because this and she gets, like, visibly pissed. But then he's like,
Yes.
well, no, I do
love
what I
that.
want. And then she's like,
He,
yes,
like, laughs
this
at the
is great.
idea of, like, her, like, being a courtly lady. And then she's
And,
like,
well,
oh,
yeah.
I'm the funny whore now.
Yeah,
And-
running around the court and my tits hanging out. Ah.
Yes. And then she gets mad at him, and he's like, no, I'm bringing you with me.
Exactly. He knows.
How do you think that's going to work out for him?
I feel like that's going to be good because she is a good ally to have on his side.
It's weird because she does seem to, like, get him, like, right away. Like, she understands him, like,
It's
boom.
weird. I don't know if that's like a good or a bad weird, whether she's like planted or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's the case, we'll find out. But regardless...
But
like,
regardless, I feel like she's
she
good.
seems to be a good pairing
Because
for Tyrion.
she's like smart
Yes.
and she just gets things. So
She
that's
does.
exactly what he'll need to help him. And obviously, Braun,
Yes.
because
That's
he's
such a fun trio.
Oh my
You
gosh,
know,
they're
Tyrion,
great.
Bronn, and Shay.
Yes.
They're a fun trio. Let's talk about some of these people who we've come to see throughout the season. They've grown a lot. They've changed a lot. And now we're jumping into season 2. It's going to be an entirely different Westeros, an entirely different situation. And you don't have to go through everybody. Just think of a few people and just give some predictions for season 2 for some of these characters.
Daenerys is definitely going to use her dragon advantage. I feel like she's going to be like rising to power. I feel like she's going to make a name for her just like group of people. I'm not sure where she's going to go, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of her just like sort of building up as a leader by herself. And it's especially going to be impressive because we have not seen very many lady leaders.
It's true.
Other than-
Cersei might be the only one.
Yeah, but
really.
she's never led herself.
Yeah, she's kind of more or less advised things.
Yeah, well, advised very, very actively.
That's true.
Let's see. Joffrey's gonna get himself. The thing with it is I'm not so much predicting. I think unfortunately Joffrey's gonna be fine through the next season, but he's going to cause like lots of chains of events that are going to be like have to be dealt with by other people,
Yeah.
as we have already seen.
Speaking
That's
of
gonna
which,
be
I
a
think
lot of
Tywin's
things.
going to be one of those people. So what about Tywin?
Well, yeah, obviously the funny thing with it is everything had gone without Joffrey. Things would have gone off without conflict, and Ned would have been freaking alive, and like a lot of stuff wouldn't have happened. But now they're past that point, so everyone's. Well, and especially Tywin's going to want to come out on top, so he's going to want to smash
Yeah.
whatever opposition there is. Because
Yeah.
now that they're not to the point of negotiations so much anymore, it's like, smash to get my son. He is going to be very set on getting Jaime back, because that's what he was. He literally
Yep.
called off the meeting when people started, like, not talking about saving him.
Right.
Which was interesting, because that does not seem tactically advantageous, because that's going to put the Starks in an advantage every time, so long as they have
Yeah,
him.
and yet you have to remember Tywin's whole thing is legacy, legacy, legacy. And
Yeah.
he wants his legacy.
Oh, that's good, because they hit him right in the legacy. Take that.
That was good.
All right, so let's see. Jon Snow, will he find Benji? I don't know, but for him and his sort of Night's Watch people, I feel like a few of them are gonna die, and I'm gonna be unhappy because I'm just starting to kind of like get the faces. I obviously haven't gotten the names
Right.
of his friends, but I've gotten the faces and stuff. It's gonna be probably a bloodbath. I'm interested. The thing with it is I have absolutely no idea what's behind the wall, so I can only assume it will not be so great.
It's kind of like you got two unknown frontiers. You got north of the wall, and you've got wherever Daenerys is headed.
Yeah, very unknown frontiers. I'm most excited about them. I know King's Landing is going to be a bunch of like stuff, but it's funny because we're going to see people in more of a scramble mode, which is what I'm going to be interested to see. I won't even like bother to do like Littlefinger, Varys, and like Pycelle. They're going to do what they do. They're going to do what they do, and that's just going to be that. Same for Tyrion. He's going to do what he does. Sansa.
Yeah, how do you think she's going to cope with all this going on with her?
I feel like she's definitely going to become... If there's going to be someone on the inside, it's probably going to be Sansa. And that's going to be really interesting to see kind of where she goes, because we've already gotten her first glimpse of it's like, she sees like he's terrible and everything's terrible, and she almost acted on literally killing the king.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different ways to read that. I didn't get that vibe when I first watched it, and... I almost got this vibe like, that's a high up thing. Maybe I could throw myself over this and end it all, because right now I'm in so much pain.
No, well, the thing
she does look at him and
I
look
feel
over
as
the edge.
if she would have grabbed him and fallen off herself. If that had gone the full way. I don't feel like she would have just pushed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which is sad for her. I would rather her have just pushed.
Yeah.
Let's see. I also feel like a lot of Lannisters are going to get mixed around as, like, you know, mob boss Lannisters, like, you guys need to go do the things. So there may be some, like, mix and mashups there. I feel like Cersei's going to be doing a lot of damage control, and she may even, like, discipline her son, which he will, in turn, take out on people who are not as important, which is sad.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What about the Starks?
Other Starks, I feel like they're going to continue to do decent, but I unfortunately don't think they're going to win if they try and take King's Landing.
Right.
If they try and win on the terms of keeping the North, I think that they could win.
Okay.
But I don't think they could win in an all-out, you know, like, continental war.
Right.
I don't think they could pull the right amount of people. I feel like the Lannisters would have more connections. I feel like it would not go well for them. I don't know. And I feel that Robert will continue to rise as a pretty good leader, because he's, like, learning. And from what we tell, he's learning quite well and
he
adjusting
almost seems to have, like,
well.
a natural talent for it.
Almost,
you know,
yeah, like,
just,
that's
like,
the thing.
jumps right into it
We
and
haven't
is able
seen
to do
too
it.
much, and he's had, like, a battle and some, like, friend calling and, like, some rallying and stuff. But for everything he's done, he's come out on top in the situation.
That's true. Yep.
So that's awesome. Yay, Starks. Yay.
Well, let's move on to the weekly wrap-up questions here. We basically already covered, like, the best plan, worst plan a little bit with your predictions for the next season.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Stark of the Week here.
Ooh.
I mean, obviously Ned's off the table now, which is really sad to think about.
I was hoping there would be some sort of, like, a force representation of Ned.
You know, him being
force, Robert. And he throws his sword like 100 miles into Jeffrey's heart.
But
like hidden wop rats.
So you've got not much exactly. I would say like not a lot of forward momentum, because the Starks are mostly coping with the loss of Ned in this episode. But if you had to give Stark of the Week to somebody, who would you give it to? Which Stark would you give it to?
I think I'd give it to Arya, because everyone's sort of like mourning. It's either Arya or like Catelyn, but not even so much Catelyn.
Yeah, it's true. Arya doesn't even really get a chance to mourn. She just
That's
keeps
the thing.
moving.
That's what makes her the best, because of all the people who mourn. She's the one who like literally got to move on. It's like someone gave her the harsh reality. Okay, let's do this.
Right.
And I mean, I guess you could also argue like Robert and like Catelyn for like starting like changing the direction of the campaign. But I'm just gonna give it to Arya, because I don't know. Stark of the Week for me would be her.
That makes sense.
Because I think I would like to give Robert the crown this week.
Yeah.
This very much seemed like his episode for that.
Is that who you're going to give the crown based on how well they play the game?
Oh, most definitely to Robert.
Robb
because,
gets it.
I mean, the fact that he didn't impose himself, he was elected to be a king of something.
It's worth pointing out. He is charismatic enough to do that.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that he was the first one who was elected. Everyone else kind of said, oh, this. Well, except for, we don't really know about Stannis, but once again, we talk about how he was the logical choice for next, because he's next Baratheon.
Right. We do talk a lot about, like, like Stannis and Renly, and yet they're oddly absent from the ending of this season.
Yes.
So maybe we'll have to follow up on that once.
I
season
know. We'll
2
see
starts.
where they're going.
But yeah, so for now, Robb gets the crown for this.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Even though Daenerys got a serious strategic advantage.
Even though she got dragons and she made her own thing, I don't know. I'm doing it because he's playing a bigger game. She has a host of...
She's got a lot of problems to overcome.
She has a lot
there.
more problems. I don't know if she's necessarily stable yet. She has a host of maybe like 36 people. He has 18,000.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Zach, let's go on to...
Even though dragons count as about like 5,000 apiece, it was very close.
Well, okay. Do the dragons add any hope points this week though? Because
I hope that she's gonna get what she wants.
Because we need to figure out on a scale of 1 to 10 how hopeful you are at the end of this season.
Hopeful for the people that I like much more than before. So we're going at like a 8.
8?
Yes.
Jumping in with an 8. That's I'm glad to hear that because I would that's where I would about put it.
This is exciting,
especially since I've been I rooted for Daenerys from the very beginning. I was just
I like her. I
really wanted her to rise above, and this is her first episode, I think.
And now she's stepping out on herself, which is great because before she was like, okay, brother sold me to him. Now I'm with husband, but now it's Daenerys.
Now she's got to make her own choices, and she's learned from some of the bad choices she's made. And she's also...
And she has Jorah there. She has, like, solid people who will back her up and give her advice.
And you think about, like, the evolution her character has gone. Like, she was, like, this, like, sort of, quiet, mewling thing in episode 1. And now, like, she's, like, being, like, I'm going to free slaves. I'm going to take names. I'm going to take a throne. I'm going to burn people to the ground.
Which is interesting.
I'm going to do the right thing, basically.
But, yeah, she's, like, has the right thing, but she's not... She's, like, willing to herself, like, do... harsh things.
Mm-hmm. She's seen a lot of stuff and it's changed her.
Awesome.
But it's changed her for the better, I think.
Yes.
Well, Zach, it's been fun watching you watch. I have to say it's been fun watching you watch this whole season. I'm glad you're excited about season 2.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I hope if you guys have been watching and listening along, that you guys are excited as well. We've had a lot of fun recording this first season. Mm-hmm. So if you've been following along, you can. We're ramping up for season 2 here, obviously. Yes. So if you got any leading questions for Zach that you want to ask, feel free to send them our way. We have our YouTube channel where you can connect with us. Mm-hmm. That's just Useful NPCs on YouTube. We're also on Twitter at Useful NPCs, and we have a Tumblr blog if you want to check that out. Mm-hmm. If you got those questions, send them, because we want to hear from you guys about how you feel about all of this, too. If you are a person who, like me, has a friend that has not seen Game of Thrones before, do it. Jump in. Zach, I mean, it's been a rough ride, but have you enjoyed it?
It's been great. And do it like this. Give them time to, like, really think it over. Don't just watch, like, episode and episode. Like, give them time to chew on it. That's really been good for me. I have appreciated it, and it's made me feel almost as if I'm watching it from the very beginning, like all of you people would have.
Yes, including, like, the agonizing wait, too. So, yes, and if you're a person like me who just derives a sort of sick pleasure from watching Zach's agonizing expressions as he does this, do it. We're maybe pondering doing some episodes with video, so you can see Zach's expression as he watches these things.
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot of potential there. And if you are a fan of Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. You know the moments I'm talking about. So stay tuned for those. There's all of that for you. Zach, I have to say, this has been a lot of fun. Do you have any last closing thoughts about this season of Game of Thrones?
I guess I've learned how to have an appropriate level of hope. I've kind of learned to gauge Westeros at this point. And definitely more plugs. Send us in stuff, because this is not... We're probably going to put out, like, a review episode for first season.
We're going to take a little bit of a break here. We'll say that before we start up season 2 again. Yeah. So don't expect an episode next week. But we'll take a break. We do have a planned episode where Zach is going to try his darndest to recap the entire season in one episode.
Oh
here.
no,
it's going to be a tough one, but I'm optimistic.
I'm not.
I mean, as long as you just throw in all of your terrible wrong nicknames, it'll all work.
That'll help bring out the
Use
old
it as a
brain
memory
juices.
tool. Yeah, I was gonna say
that's why I do it. But definitely hit us up because we'll be hitting a lot of fan things and all stuff in this because it's going to be just sort of like a kind of fun, laid back review of the first season.
Will be a little bit, and then we'll dive right into season 2 from there.
Oh yes,
so it'll be fun. So
I'll have to wait the appropriate amount of days that Cameron says would almost simulate it being me waiting for a whole season.
That's true. Also. Stay tuned for us because we may have some more watching you watch in store that's not Game of Thrones in the long term.
I may get to run some of this show.
Zach might get his revenge on me. We're gonna figure it out here. Just stay tuned for that. We're not sure what exactly we're gonna do yet, but it's in the works.
Yes.
So if that's something that appeals to you. Yeah, just stay tuned for it.
Yeah, stay tuned. Maybe send suggestions, or maybe we have some things in mind. If we can't pick something, maybe we'll send it to you and have you, the viewers, pick.
All right. Well, Zach, I think it's time for us to sign off.
All right.
Well, until season 2, or at least our recap thing, we're going to see you guys later.
See you. Also, may the dragons be with you always.
May the dragons be with you always. Oh, that was weird. Okay. Bye.